Beto's in. He announced this morning Beto O'Rourke will be running for president in the Democratic primary. I guess it feels like it was inevitable. It seemed like there was a little bit of second guessing very briefly, but now he's in. And here is how he announced that he's running in this video.
Amy and I are happy to share with you that I'm running to serve you as the next president of the United States of America. This is a defining moment of truth for this country and for every single one of us. The challenges that we face right now, the interconnected crises in our economy, our democracy, and our climate have never been greater. And they will either consume us or they will afford us the greatest opportunity to unleash the genius of the United States of America. In other words, this moment of peril produces perhaps the greatest moment of promise for this country and for everyone inside of it.
Okay, so that goes on for about 2.5 minutes. It's intense. It's oddly intense for a sort of impromptu living room announcement address, but I guess that's the way he is, and that's the way he's begun speaking in public, so I guess it's infected his home life as well. So look, Beto O'Rourke is an interesting figure, and in this video, I'm gonna break down some of the benefits, some of what he brings to this race, and some of the, I guess, obstacles I would say that he's going to face in trying to become the Democratic nominee this time around. There's gonna be a lot of hot takes today, and there are gonna be people who are already on the Beto train that think, oh, he's definitely gonna win this, he definitely should win this. And on the other side, there are some people who are gonna attempt to convince you that he is literally the worst thing that has ever happened. Something in the middle, I would say, is more likely to be true. He does have some good qualities, and he does have some significant drawbacks, and we're gonna talk about those. Before we get into that though, like I talked about the video, the way that his rollout has happened is a little bit bizarre, and I think some people have noticed this. So first of all, Vanity Fair has their big cover story on him. That was sort of how we knew he was running. That came out. Let's take a look at this cover. And you'll see Beto O'Rourke on a dusty trail with a dog sort of oddly crammed in the corner looking at him ashamed, like the dog has like torn up the toilet paper or something. I don't really get that. But the more important part is up above where it says Beto's choice, quote, "I want to be in it, man. I'm just born to be in it." Which is sort of a weird thing to say for someone who served a couple of terms as a congressman from Texas and is now like very certain that this is his destiny. And as many people have pointed out, I mean, imagine virtually any other candidate announcing in that particular way. Like think about if Bernie was like, "I was born to be in this thing." I mean, the people who hate Bernie would hate it 10 times as much after hearing that. Like think about like any female candidate whatsoever. Like imagine if Hillary Clinton had said, "I was born to this race." Like, come on, how much would people attack her? Beto has this sort of weird folksy sleeves rolled up charm, so I guess he gets away with it to some extent. But this isn't just like one random quote that was thrown out there. I want to read from this Vanity Fair article. He talked a little bit about one of his first big public addresses, and the way he talks about it is just a little bit weird. He says, "I don't ever prepare a speech. I don't write out what I'm going to say. I remember driving to that, I was like, what do I say? Maybe I'll just introduce myself. I'll take questions." I got in there, and I don't know if it's a speech or not, but it felt amazing because every word was pulled out of me, like by some greater force, which was just the people there. Everything that I said, I was like watching myself, being like, how am I saying this stuff? Where is this coming from? Dude, where is that coming from? What are you talking about? Like, okay, I understand. If you go to do a public address, especially if it's your first big one, I would be horrified. And if I got through it at all, I'd be pretty proud of myself. But I wouldn't say that like the creator of the universe is stuffing my mouth full of words to shower the audience with. That's just, people are saying that it's sort of a messiah complex. And it might be that is being overplayed. And it might be that this was just a really weird Vanity Fair article. I don't know. But he needs to avoid that sort of talk. Like you can't have this sort of, I guess, like divine right entitlement to the nomination, in particular in what is going to be the most contested Democratic primary in our lives, by far. There are so many people, many of whom have a lot more experience, a lot more legislative accomplishments, a lot more sort of call to run than Beto O'Rourke. And it's not to say that he can't run, he's very popular. A lot of people like him. And his Senate run against Ted Cruz was incredibly hard fought, very close, far more than people would have thought a month out from the race, let alone a year out from the race. He did a great job there. But he's not Kennedy. And he definitely seems to think that he's Kennedy in the way he speaks about himself. And whoever was taking the pictures for this Vanity Fair thing, they were thinking about JFK literally every time they snapped that button. Take a look at some of these photos and you'll know what I'm talking about. So in terms of what he brings, as I've pointed out, and I know that I'm harping on this, but he is very popular. And it's weird to talk constantly about how popular a politician is rather than here are the reasons they're popular. But I honestly believe that for a lot of these people, they don't necessarily know why. I'm part of that to some extent. Like back during that race, I was pretty excited about him. Like I remember, you remember the video that went viral of him talking about Colin Kaepernick? It was a great public address. He did a great job. He was captivating in a number of cases, but he wasn't necessarily captivating because of his Elizabeth Warren-esque bold proposals to fix the structural problems in America. That's not really what it was about. And now it might be that in the end he will have that platform. He will have the most robust platform that is up to the task of dealing with all the problems that we have as a country. But I don't see it yet. In fact, I went to his website to see not what does he stand for, you should be able to get that from other sources, but how does he want to frame himself? Because every candidate on their site chooses to focus on one or more issues. He has so far chosen to focus on zero. On his website, there's a shop section, it's first. There's a jobs section, I think to work for him. And there's a donate section, of course, it's American politics, you need money. There was no platform area, there was nothing. Now, it'll come at some point, but right out the gate, it's very much a look at me, not a here are 10 reasons you might want to support my candidacy. And look, he's going to have no problem getting the donors to get on the debate stage. I have no doubt about that. He'll do quite fine in that area. He'll get the 65,000. He'll be on there. I really do think, though, that people project onto him what they want to see. I think that centrists see him as, again, like Biden, a return to the old normal way of doing things. I think that some progressives project onto him with his rhetoric perhaps a stronger commitment to certain progressive policy priorities than he really has. I mean, I covered all of his debates with Ted Cruz, and I know that he technically supports Medicare for all, but his actual descriptions of what that would mean in practice is not radical by any means. In a little bit, I'm going to get to his positions on the Green New Deal, which sounds great, but we will have to see what it really means when the rubber hits the road. And again, in terms of actual legislative accomplishments, do you remember how much Bernie was attacked, even though he has passed many bills over the years? Beto O'Rourke doesn't even have that. And so I'm not saying that Beto O'Rourke is the devil, and I'm not saying that if he were the candidate, I wouldn't support him. Obviously I would. You would have to be a madman not to. But the idea that he is going to stroll in here and simply grab his destiny, that is not the case. And I think this race is going to be a lot tougher for him than he seems to think at this point. And his supporters should be ready for possibly a long, hard slog.
Thank you very much for watching this clip from The Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.